Learning Spanish it's a journey. For the 4 months that I committed to learn Spanish, it took a long time, and honestly, in the beginning, it was super overwhelming. It was overwhelming because just the idea that someone can become fluent or someone can learn a new language in such a short time, it was challenging. My pronunciation wasn't great. Didn't have great vocabulary. I always got nervous and froze when I would talk to native Spanish speakers, and it was challenging for me. But there were some resources that really helped me go beyond my fears and really step forward and really learn the language. I really think fear was a big factor on why I didn't learn. It was a fear for some imaginary big concept. I was afraid of these big things. I was afraid of the big challenge. I was listening to a Jordan Peterson podcast, and he was talking about how he helps people that struggle. And Jordan Peterson helps people in the psychological world. He takes one big issue and he breaks it down to the smallest chunk possible, and he just has each person deal with the smallest chunk, one chunk at a time, one thing at a time. While listening to that podcast, simultaneously, I was reading the book by James Clear called Atomic Habits. And in that book also, it had this idea of taking something, breaking it down to the minuscule, small one step, and focusing on that one step, the one thing that you can do so that you can progress and eventually accomplish your goal and be who you desire to be. For me, I thought this was a profound concept to do one thing. And so instead of telling myself every day that I'm going to become fluent, I would have that in the back of my mind. It would as my vision, but each day I wanted to learn just one vocabulary word and memorize one vocabulary word. And so I would take the vocabulary word and I would say it repeatedly over and over and over. Carrion Ball in his podcast, like 3 Minute Spanish, said, you say a word 100 times, then it will get lodged into your long-term memory. And so I would take one word and I would just repeat it over and over and over. I would take one phrase and repeat it over and over and over, and try each day. And as the day progressed, my ability and my confidence began to grow, because from one day it grew to one word went to another, and then some days I would learn 3 vocabulary words and some phrases would match better, and it was better. It helped with some of the worries and the fears, and the anxiety got pressed down because I only challenged myself to do one thing rather than a million things. Instead of worrying about all the grammar and all the pronunciation and all the cultural differences, just focus on one word, one phrase at a time. And through that time of taking small chunks, was able to learn and speak greater chunks. And so I thought that would be something encouraging to share about learning in the Spanish journey. Just take one thing at a time, one word at a time, and enjoy and cherish the small victories, as it's all preparation for your long-term goal, which is to get advanced or near fluent with Spanish.